Hello everyone, this is Maria from Maxifisio. I prepared for you today a video with lower limb stretches that you can do after a workout, whether you go for a run or a cycle, or if you're training lower limb with weights at the gym, for example, or if you do any type of circuit training where you feel that you need to release your legs. This group of stretches should be beneficial for you. Also, if you're recovering or you had recently an injury, maybe on your knee, your foot, your hip, any part of your lower limb, this might be beneficial for you as well. So as always, if you like this video, please give me a like. At the end of it, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and let's get it started. So all you need to have for this set of stretches is a TheraBand or something that you could use as a TheraBand, something elastic. You could also use one of those short bands, the loop bands. Maybe if you don't have any band at home or at the gym, you could use a towel or maybe a pair of tights, just something that can help you a little bit. So let's just get started. We're gonna lie on our back. So if you roll to your side and then onto your back, make sure your neck is comfortable. You can use a little bit of support for your head. If your neck tends to hyperextend, so just make sure your head is in a good position. And let's get started with, again, the band or something that you could use as a TheraBand. Bring it onto the ball of your foot. I'm gonna start on my right side, but you could do the left. And we're gonna go ahead and extend the knee and flex the toes. So we go into a bit of a hamstring and calf stretch. And we're gonna repeat this again. You can use the breath to help you. Breathe in as you release the stretch. Breathe out as you go deep into the stretch. And we'll do it again. Now, depending on your flexibility, some of you will be able to extend the other leg down. Some of you might find it a little bit too strong and then you could come back to here. For me, it's okay, so I'm gonna keep my leg like so. And we're gonna continue working through the stretch. You want to work towards a full extended knee and a full flexed foot and ankle. So if you find that your knee tends to stay a bit bent, you might need to bring the leg a bit lower. If you find your knee extends fine, but your foot tends to stay pointed, then you need to bring your focus to that. So just pay attention to your body, also to each side. So when we do the other side, it might feel a little bit different. One leg is always a little bit tighter than the other, and that's perfectly normal. But yeah, just trying to keep our awareness and just focusing on what we need. And what we need today, which might also be different from day to day, from week to week. So let's just do it one more time. And I want you to try to keep your knee as extended as possible and your foot again as flexed as possible. And now you're going to bend your knee attached, but I want you to keep your heel flexed. This is a bit of an Achilles tendon and soleus stretch. The soleus muscle just sits underneath your calf. So on the lower portion of your leg. And this is the way you kind of stretch it. So yeah, you should be feeling mostly on your calf. As you extend your knee, you might still feel a little bit the hamstring. But as you can see, it's a small knee bend and my foot is staying on the same position. And I can definitely feel sort of the lower part of the calf and the Achilles tendon area right above the heel. All right, so on this next one, I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna take a deep breath in. And as I breathe out, I'm gonna try to bring my knee a little bit higher. Again, some of you will be able to, some of you might not, and that's okay. Just making sure you're keeping the length and then just trying to go towards the end of the stretch for you. And as I say, it's important to do it with a bit of support so you can try to relax on the stretch. And then from here, we're going to try to do a bit of a medial hamstring stretch and a lateral hamstring stretch. So we're going to allow the leg to open. This might make you feel a bit your inner thighs as well. And I want you to pay attention to the opposite hip. Make sure it's not lifting or twisting too much. And then with the support of the band, can you bring the leg across? And this will give you stronger sensation. It gives you a bit of a nervous stretch. So you'll probably feel a bit the lateral part of the thigh, the leg, the hip, maybe one area more than the other. Maybe a couple of areas, maybe the whole of the lateral aspect of the thigh and the leg. It depends where you're holding more tension. So you want to go to the point where it gets tighter and then we'll release. And then as we do these ones, the lateral glides, I want to make sure that your knee stays lengthened, your heel stays flexed, so we're not losing the position. Because again, your body will tend to compensate, especially if you feel tight. So just watch the knee and the foot as you do this. Usually it takes a couple of times or a couple of repetitions just to start feeling a little bit more comfortable with it. And usually after we've done a few, the range improves as well. But again, always work within your own range, your own mobility, which will probably be different to mine. Maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit worse. It's all okay. You just want to work with your body, what's offering you today. And then let's come back to the middle. Great. So let's just swap to the other side. You're going to change your legs whatever way is comfortable. Remember, the ball of your foot stays supported by the band or whatever you're using as a TheraBand if you don't have a band with you. And then we'll try again to extend the knee, flex the foot, and then release. And we can use the breath again, inhaling and exhaling. Again, if you're comfortable with the underneath leg straight, great. If you prefer to keep it bent, you can come back to leg bent. For me, it's okay, so I'm going to keep demonstrating like this. But as always, just see what feels better for your body. Sometimes, we need to regress things a little bit to get a better stretch. And again, that's also good. That's also fine. And the same as we were saying on the other side, just watching what your body needs on this side. Do you need more knee extension? Do you need more flexion or dorsiflexion on the foot, on the ankle? Maybe a little bit of both. And just see, play with that and just try to work with what your body feels restricted to so we can hopefully improve it. And then let's do it one more time, and we're going to try to go into that second variation we did for our Achilles, our soleus muscle. So keep the foot flexed, keep your knee lengthened, and then from there, without changing your foot, so your foot remains on that flexed position, can you bend your knee attached and then extend the knee? So as you can see, it's a small knee bend. I'm not bending as deep as before, and I'm trying to keep the foot exactly as I started, on that strong flexed position. You'll notice again one leg feels tighter than the other, as I was saying earlier, and again that's normal. Just try to keep working throughout the stretch. Let's do a couple more. And hold. And now the last thing we did was just trying to maintain the knee again, lengthen the heel flexed, and perhaps bringing the knee a bit closer towards the chest, taking a deep breath in and out as we increase the stretch. But again, if you feel you can move a lot more, that's absolutely fine. Just want you to hold it where you feel you're getting to the end of range for you, whatever that is. And then from here, we'll finish doing our lateral and medial hamstring stretches. So we'll start opening the hip to the side. You should be feeling a bit of an inner thigh stretch. You shouldn't be lifting the opposite hip, so just be mindful of the other side. And then from here, we'll take the leg across. And this one, again, always feels tighter. This is a lot tighter for me on this side. I'm not going as far as before. And we'll repeat it again. Trying to maintain again your knee and your foot position, especially when you go across the body. When we open, it's a little bit nicer, a little bit easier. When we come across the body, always feels tighter. Again, maybe your lower leg, the thigh, the hip, maybe all of those areas, maybe a couple of those areas, again, depending where you're holding more tension. And of course, might be completely different to the other side. And again, that's also normal. Maybe on one side you notice more the lower leg, maybe on the other side you notice more the thigh. And the same, it might change from day to day, from week to week. And that's again, is all normal, it's all fine. So we'll keep moving. We want to try to keep our breath going, so make sure you're breathing in and out as we move. Try not to get too short of breath, especially if you find the stretch challenging for you. Our breath always helps with to relax, yeah, to make the stretch a little bit more manageable, more comfortable. Let's just repeat it once more each way to finish with this. And back. Great. All right, so let's bring the TheraBand down. And for the rest of the stretches, we don't need it, so you can leave it aside. We're gonna come into a little bit of a gluteal stretch. So we're going to cross the right foot over the opposite knee, over the left knee. And then here I'm going to give you options. We can just simply try to open up sort of through the hip by pressing just below the knee. Obviously, if you've got any knee issues or you had any injury in the past, just be a bit mindful, maybe don't force it too much so your knee is comfortable. You can also do, if it's a little bit too easy, you don't feel the stretch enough, you could either use a wall or maybe the edge of a chair, a sofa, the edge of a bed, a surface, and then come to the same position like this, which will feel slightly stronger. Or again, if that's not enough, you want to progress it even more, we could take the left thigh up and support it up. So it's like a figure 4 type of position. And again, once you're here, you can just hold it again with your hand. You could try to open up the right hip a little bit deeper, but only if it's comfortable. And then we'll continue again for a few breaths here. Again, whichever position works best for you. Trying to get that nice deep stretch, the hip, the glutes. This one's we're aiming to hold it for about 20 to 30 seconds as a minimum, or think of maybe 3 to 5 deep breaths at least. You can always hold it longer, of course. But yeah, less than 20 seconds when we're doing static stretches doesn't really change too much the tone on the muscle fibers. So we need to give a little bit of time to the tissue to begin to relax. Even if it feels again tight and is challenging, just again work with the breath. All right, from here, from whatever position you are, we're going to return to knee to the chest. Again, some of you will be comfortable holding the knee or from the shin, yeah, from above. Some of you will prefer holding from the back of the thigh, and that's all good. I want you to extend the opposite leg down. And this is also a bit of a glute stretch, but we stretch a different part of the hip. So we're going to try to bring the right leg across the middle. You can take the right arm out to the side, perhaps, and then maybe look towards the right shoulder. And then you're going to go into a bit of a twist. So bringing your right knee towards the floor, but without lifting the shoulders. And again, you can do whichever grip, from above, from below, yeah, for the thigh, for the leg. And usually feel, as I said, slightly different parts of the hip. If your hip flexors are tight, sometimes it can get a bit uncomfortable on the groin, or if you have any sort of hip impingement type of injury, sometimes can get a bit uncomfortable, so maybe don't force it too much. If you start getting that sort of pinching sensation, you can always come back a little bit, ease it off, and you're still stretching, which is good. And the same as before, trying to stay for at least 20 to 30 seconds or 3 to 5 deep breaths, trying to allow the tissue to relax. From here, we'll come back to center, and we're going to go through the same 2 stretches on the other side. So let's start with a figure 4 glute stretch. So we cross the left foot over the right knee. Again, that would be your easier option or easier version of the stretch. You could use your hand again on the thigh to help you open up a bit the hip. You can always be mindful of your knee. If your knee is a bit sensitive, don't force it. Option 2 would be to use a bit of a support for a surface, so you can elevate the legs a little bit. Again, can be a wall, can be a chair, can be a sofa. And then option 3, if you still need more stretch, would be lifting the right thigh up. And you could hold it again here. Here, you could use again your left hand on the left knee and holding the stretch there for a few seconds. Again, focusing once more on the breath. Noticing the difference on the stretch again, which side is tighter for you, today. And then just trying to get to that end of range of the stretch for you, and that you can sustain, you can manage for a few seconds. From here, we'll go for the second version of your glute stretch. So we'll hold again the left knee. You can hold from the shin below the knee. You can hold from the thigh. You can extend the right leg down. And then you're going to bring your left leg across. You can use your right hand to help you. Maybe open the left arm to the side. Looking towards your left as you do so. And then just bringing the hip across as much as your body allows you. So you're creating a bit of a twist on the hip, on the spine, but again to the point where you feel again that lateral part of the hip feels slightly different to the previous one. And if you get any again discomfort through the groin, then or the front of the hip, then just ease it off a little bit. Don't force it too much. And just again trying to stay here for a few seconds. One more breath. And then let's just slowly return to center. Great. From here, we're going to bend both knees. We're going to roll through our side and we're going to make our way into kneeling high. And I'll give you different options in case your knees tend to get a little bit sensitive, or for whatever reason you cannot put all the weight or a lot of pressure on the knee. For example, if you're recovering from surgery or you've got a scar that is still a bit sensitive. So we're going to go through a hip flexor stretch or a lunge type of a stretch. So we're going to start stretching. I'll show you actually from this view the right side so you can see the right hip. So your left foot will come forward. And then again, if your knee is a bit uncomfortable, option 1, you can place a bit of a pad, maybe a towel again, a cushion, something underneath your knee, if you need to. Otherwise, you could stay just like this. If you're not able to put any weight at all, what you would do is just bring the hands by your foot at the front, tag the toes of your right foot at the back, lift your knee, and then just try to sink, keeping the leg straight until you feel the hip pocket area. The front of the hip, front of the thigh, and you would hold it here. This is the option that you need to do if you cannot put any weight on the knee. Okay, if you're able to put weight on the knee, I'll show you now. Again, either with the support, bit of padding, cushion or no cushion underneath it, or simply like I am. We will try to stay first fairly tall, fairly vertical. So I want you to think of tucking your tailbone under, so you can feel the front of the hip again beginning to open. And then for you, for some of you, this might be enough. So if you feel you're very tight and this gives you enough stretch, then you would hold it like this. If this is not enough, you want to challenge the stretch a bit more, you could lean a little bit forward until you feel this deeper. So again, for some of you will be here, maybe for some of you will be fairly low. The main thing is whatever you are, is that your torso stays upright. So I'm not leaning forward, I'm not slouching. You can rest the hands on the thigh, by your side, whatever feels good. And then again, just breathing, trying to get that sensation of opening to the front of the hip, front of the thigh, staying tall. Holding again for those 3 or 5 deep breaths, 20 or 30 seconds as a minimum. And of course, if it feels good, you could hold it longer. And the other thing you can do as well, while you're here, if you feel you begin to relax into it, you could start maybe coming a little bit deeper into the stretch, maybe progressing lunge. Maybe even taking your hands or fingertips almost all the way down. So just to give you options. And again, if you were on the previous option that I showed you the same, you could perhaps maybe begin to sink a little bit deeper. Maybe you started here, maybe you can begin to drop a bit more. Just so you can see what feels good for your body. Once we've done those 30 seconds, we'll change to the other side. So I'll turn around so you can see the other hip a little bit better. You could just stay as you are, of course, on the same spot, and we will go through the other side. So again, if you need any sort of padding, you could place a towel, a cushion, a pillow underneath your knee. Again, if you're not able to put any weight at all on this side, for whichever reason, again, scar tissue, just recovering for surgery, a few different reasons, simply sensitive, then you could tuck the toes, bring the hands by the front foot, and then allow the knee to come up, and then just hold like so, with your knee fairly straight. Okay, I'll come back to the other option so you can see everything. We will start again tucking the tailbone under, so you're fairly vertical, your hips are not sticking back. That should give a bit of opening at the front of the hip already, that sensation of your hip pocket area beginning to lengthen. Maybe you'll need to hold it here if you feel very tight. Maybe you'll be able to begin to come a bit forward. And again, some of you might be able to come even deeper than me. For me, it's okay to start here. So you can just find the range where you feel, you're getting a nice stretch, nice sensation. And again, focus on your breath. Again, 3 to 5 breaths, deep breaths as a minimum, 20 to 30 seconds, otherwise longer. And again, while you're here, if you begin to feel you can come a little bit deeper into the lunge position, great. You could progress the range. You could even come here. And again, if you were on the other position, just to show you as before, you could just maybe starting here, maybe beginning to drop a little bit heavier. Yeah, whatever feels good. And then once we've done those 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds, we'll release. And then we're going to come to a stand and we're going to finish stretching our quads. So for this, again, I'll give you different options. If you've got a stiff knee, again, whether you're recovering for surgery, your range is not very good or is not fully recovered at the moment, or you've had surgery in the past and your knee after the surgery became a bit stiff, your range is also limited, or maybe it's a little bit swollen and it's not bending fully, whichever reason there might be. If your knee is not bending too deeply, you could use again the support of the band or a towel or again a pair of tights, something that you could use, and then you can just simply bring it around the front of your shin, the lower shin, yeah, close to the ankle, and you could bend the knee, and at least if you could, maybe 90 degrees as a minimum, maybe a touch more, and then from here just bringing the hip back until you feel a bit more of the thighs, and maybe just trying to work through the flexion, and then just bending the knee to where it feels is appropriate for you. Things that I want you to watch is again that you don't overarch your hips or your back. So trying to keep the tailbone tucked under, staying tall, and just being a bit mindful of your shoulder position. You could do this holding onto something for support, or maybe just your arm forward and by your side, yeah. And always for safety, maybe have something nearby. And if your knee, it's fine, you don't need the help of the TheraBand, then you would do the same, but just grabbing from the front of the ankle. And then you would bend the knee again fairly deep, almost thinking of your heel towards your butt, even if it doesn't touch fully. Tucking again the tailbone under, and then just bringing the knee back again to where you make, to where it makes you feel the stretch, yeah? And then, so thinking again of being mindful through there, so this opens, and then just, yeah, traveling back until you feel that nice stretch. Might feel still a bit the hip pocket area like we were doing on the hip flexor stretch, but hopefully a little bit more into the thigh as well, quads. And then we would hold it as we've been saying, 3 to 5 deep breaths as a minimum, or 20 to 30 seconds. You can always stay here longer, and if it starts feeling a little bit looser, just progress in the stretch, of course. Maybe taking the knee a bit further back, but trying again to stay tall. Or also maybe just challenging your balance. Yeah, you can also play a little bit with that. A little bit of proprioception work for your foot and your ankle as well. Balance is always a good thing to work on. and then we'll go through the other side. So I'm going to turn around so you can see the other side. If you were holding onto a surface, you might need to do the same. And again, I'll show you first the easier version or the supported version. You would bring again your support around the lower part of your shin, and we would just from there, again, obviously if your leg is or your knee range is quite restricted, you could always hold from the band of the support a bit looser rather than tighter. So keep that in mind as well. And then coming again to the range that it's appropriate for you. Hopefully, I would say you need minimum 90 degrees of flexion, which is that 90-degree angle. But yeah, if you're able to come a bit more, then you could use the support, tucking again the tailbone so you have a good position through the lumbar spine, and then bring in from there both the heel up where you can and then back. And then trying to stay tall, and again, if you need to work in through your balance, if you want to challenge it and that feels appropriate. Otherwise, again, if you don't need the support, we would grab from the front of the ankle, would bend the knee again as much as it feels comfortable, thinking of your heel coming towards the butt. As you can see, my heel is not touching, so some of you will, some of you won't, and it's okay. And then again, tucking the tailbone under, trying to feel the opening through the front of the hip, the thigh, and then if able to take in the hip back, but again without compensating with the torso. And again, you can use the support in terms of your fingers of a surface, or maybe your arm in front of you, maybe down, trying to work a little bit with feels good for you today. And like I said before, while you're here, you could always try to progress the range, or again, if you're holding onto something, maybe staying for a bit longer, but without the support. And then once you complete your 20 to 30 seconds as a minimum, then you could release and bring your legs back down. Cool, so this is the end of the stretches that I wanted to show you today. As you can see, they're easily done with a stretch, a little bit the posterior aspect of the thigh and the leg, hamstring and calf, the lateral part of the hips, your gluteals, and of course the front of the hips and the thighs, your hip flexors and your quads as well. I hope you like this video. As always, any comments or any suggestions for any other videos, please let me know. If you are interested in any of my online classes, please visit my website, maxifisio.com. And of course, if you're interested in any rehabilitation or any physiotherapy session, you can also contact me through my website. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in one of my other videos soon. Bye bye.